I can. Okay. All right. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and then I'm going to turn it immediately over to Dave. So I can eat.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for allowing us to come and do a presentation for the foundation, which I'm not sure if everybody is aware of who we are, but hopefully after this presentation, you'll have an idea of who we are and what we do. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Dave Diedrich. I'm currently president of the foundation. I have our executive committee members here, Ken Mischler, vice president treasurer, Dana Getz, who is our chair of the Community Development Foundation, and Tyler Eck, who is our secretary. In addition, I'd like to recognize our other board members, Andrea Holschbach, Don Schrader, Brian Worth, Eric Hoffman, Logan Rooney, Matt Longmire, and Cheryl Schrader. So currently, that is our board. We're going to start with a little history. When and why was the foundation established? We were established in April of 2008, and we are a 501c3 organization, so all things are tax deductible, which many people that want to donate, that's the first thing they ask. What is our purpose? Basically, it's to support the school district in educational, scientific, and charitable purposes, and assist qualified individuals in their educational studies by administering a current scholarship program and also the student loan program. Yeah.
You just zoom right through that.
Oh, let me also say, we do have a question and answer period at the end, but I like to be engaged. So if you do have questions as we're going through, please don't hesitate.
Yeah, why we're established. It's interesting because companies and individuals are elected to donate to school districts for fear of the and go in the general fund. So in essence, donations to the foundation solve this problem. So we basically, we started with donations. Very first ones were the International Baccalaureate Program. It was established only because we needed financial support for students on that. So that first year, it was started, we got money from three different donors for $83,300. And the IB program fees paid for per student of $528 first year, $5,280 for 10 students. That's really how it started. So it started small. Then after establishment of the IB program, only small donations and gifts were accepted from years 2000, 2010. So basically we had a Brady Memorial Scholarship and the Rubric Run, which are two small ones that did different things earlier on. However, in 2011, things changed and we started moving into bigger projects and things like that. So what were some of the bigger projects? So right away, thus in 2011, the foundation worked on fundraising for what we call the Voice Project. Voice Project was basically new bleachers, scoreboard, basketball and volleyball floors, entrance doors, etc. They were all updated. It would have been nice to have it before and after. It was really run down. And it was interesting, if you look at that picture on here, it's got black up on top. When they put black, they said, we're going to put black in the ceiling, or black in the ceiling. It really made a difference. I thought it would be white or something like that, correct? But the black, really, you can't see anything. So it's interesting. So we became the conduit for the JFK renovations, and we helped raise over $300,000. It's interesting that we're really not the people that raise the money. We make it available for people so they can run programs. So it was really an outside group that came and said, hey, we want to renovate JFK. And we said, can you handle the money? Can you help us fundraise and things like that? We didn't necessarily do the fundraising going to, but we helped them with all the other aspects of it. Give out brochures, helping things like that. So that was a very start, bigger program. Then we had major projects. We started with the Rubik Municipal Field entrance, raised over $30,000. And then the football field on the below picture. That one raised over $1 million. I don't have the exact count, but it was over $1 million. And then donations to the what we call the ABC, or Academic Booster Club for Student Academic Programs. And that was all kinds of different academic programs. Money was donated and put towards those programs. So that, basically, we started small and worked up quite a bit.
We've been updating our bylaws since the foundation was started, and the most recent one was in 2023. And under our current bylaws, we can have a maximum of 15 directors. We currently have 11. We just received an application for another director, so hopefully we will be increasing that to 12. And we do have the superintendent and the business manager as ex officio members. So they are not official members of the organization, but they do participate in the meetings. And currently our board meets on a quarterly basis. In the past, in 2021, we undertook and we spent some money to do a strategic plan, which we have also updated, and we continue to look at that to make sure we're staying on target. So.
Okay, the foundation took over duties. One of the big duties is student loans. I'm not sure you know exactly what all, excuse me, I got problems with my throat. Our two biggest things we do are give out scholarships, and the next one is student loans. So established way back when student loans, some money was given, it was stock for Mantle Company. And people way back in the 70s decided they're gonna split it up and give some of the student loans and some of the scholarships. Well, the student loan and scholarship program still exist. So basically, if you graduated from Lincoln High School, you're eligible for a student loan. And prior to that, we gave out $2,000 per year, up to $8,000. This year it was expanded $2,500 up to $8,500, and then it's going to be $9,000, $9,500, $10,000, basically, as it goes on. The reason we give them student loans, there's no interest. So zero interest while they're in school. And once they graduate, they got 6 months of free interest until 6 months after graduation. So basically, one of the problems with duties, I can't say problems, duties, it's issuing collection notices, collecting student loan, paying the scholarship, student loans out. We also do pay scholarships also too, but so a lot of time-consuming things to do. And collection, so when people don't automatically start sending us money, we contact them, they need to pay their student loan back. So it does require work on our part. But it's a great program. We consider it very successful. Currently, I didn't have it in here, there's about $1,200,000 of student loans outstanding right now.
Wow. And in addition, this last year, we started a new program for graduate studies where you can, we'll provide a student loan of $5,000 per year, up to $10,000 for a 2-year program. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So scholarships, that's, another huge bucket that we're responsible for. The most recent graduating class received a total of $239,000 scholarships. Something to talk about there that we really rely on, and that's part of what my committee does, is really just advocate, and we're going to do much more of that this year, working with the guidance counselors at Lincoln, and then the seniors and their parents as well, to make them aware of the fact that we do have robust scholarships available to students as well as the loans. There were quite a few this year that weren't given out just for lack of applicants. What I understand that's happening is that students aren't actively seeking in scholarship opportunities. So, you know, I think COVID kind of changed a lot, and I think we're probably still recovering from COVID, but, you know, as college becomes more expensive for kids to, you know, go and attend, those scholarships are going to become even more important. So, you know, like everything that's recovering from COVID, I think our giving, you know, will be part of that as well too. So, and while the board, and I'll just speak to that now, while the board only meets quarterly, my committee meets on a monthly basis. We're really making targeted attempts this year to get out and network with the community, network with teachers, network with parents and students, to make them available or make them aware really of what the foundation is, how we go about giving, and then also just to increase our donor base. You know, there's always a push with any foundation to get to the point where you have adequate funds to donate. So there's definitely growth within the foundation there, but if you don't know about it, you're not going to donate to it. So that's, you know, that's part of it as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit further on, but there is a relationship that we have with the district as far as sharing an employee who we pay to do work for us. And part of that employment is helping us manage our scholarships and loans. Any questions about?
So that's kind of how we started and where we are. And now we'd like to go to the present, and that's Tyler.
So we redefined our mission here recently as a tax exempt entity that provides financial support and other resources to enrich and enhance the educational opportunities offered in the district, right? And our vision there is to sustain the legacy of academics, co-curricular activities, facilities, innovative programs, and scholarships. I don't know that we explicitly said it, but those of us that are on the board, I believe a condition of board eligibility is a MPSD graduate. So those of us that are on the board are passionate about what the school district did for us, and we'd like to continue to generations to come, so that this is a meaningful statement for us.
And referring back to Tyler's comment, to be on the board, you either have to be an alum of Lincoln High School, a parent or grandparent of a current or former student of Lincoln High School.
One thing that we should probably include, I think that's important as we talk about the scholarships, is we as the foundation, we manage the scholarships. We do not choose the recipient of the scholarship. That primarily, that criteria is set, you know, kind of in two ways. One, it's generally whoever set up the scholarship has their list of criteria that a student would need to meet to be eligible for that. But the actual selection of the scholarship, if not done by the family or by the beneficiary of the scholarship, is done and handled through Lincoln, you know, by the guidance counselors. It's kind of sort of managed for that. There is a unique opportunity, and we talked about it at the staff welcome this year. There is a staff scholarship that staff members traditionally have donated to and have traditionally given out, that has their own criteria and their own selection process. I think in the past, from what I understand, staff has left that up to the guidance, you know, the traditional pool to do that. However, if the staff would like to take that over and select their own scholarship recipient, they certainly could. We're just the stewards of the money. We don't have anything to do with the actual selection of the students receiving a scholarship. I just think that's or nor do we set the criteria. I just think that's an important.
The counseling center has a committee comprised of staff members. So in essence, the staff are choosing two, you know,
Right.
if they didn't want to set up a separate, because I know they do a good job of getting some diverse staff members. It's always like 6 or 8 people, and they really, I mean, it takes them a long
Yeah.
time to go through each one and what the criteria is and how they're going to distribute. It's just it's a good process.
Anything else? Ken, you're next, I think.
The foundation currently has total assets of $8,675,000. Generally speaking, most of that is in cash, basically. That's handled by the
Lakeshore.
Lakeshore Community Foundation. So most of that money is there, over $6 million at the Lakeshore Community Foundation. That being held in scholarships, so a lot of it's held in scholarships. The other part is $1.2 million in loans is outstanding. So I just want to be aware of that. Last year, this past year, we had income of $813,000. Well, where did we get income? We got a little bit from student loans. After their pay, we charge a nominal interest rate. Almost all of it from the Lakeshore Community Foundation, from investments, things like that. Prior year was $588,000. So we had a pretty good year last year. Currently, when I said 1.2, it does change. We just gave out some more student loans, so it bumped it up. But currently, when at the end of the year, it was $1,184,000 with 283 different students getting the money. So basically, it's 283 individuals have outstanding loans right now. Yes.
With Manitowoc in 2011 celebrated the 100th year of our entire school district. And because of the size of our graduating classes, Lincoln at one time had one of the largest alumni in the state of Wisconsin, because of how old and the size of our graduating classes. We're still right up there as far as a huge alumni association. Does the foundation tap that alumni association via Facebook ads or donate to foundation? Do we tap that huge alumni?
We've done a little bit, but really hardly at all. When we did the Rubik Field, we tapped some of them. Basically, no, we have not really went after alumni asking for different things. We talked about scholarships as an example. We thought about that. Scholarships, when I first took over, it was less than $30,000 a year. And now it's grown to over $200,000, depending upon the year, $250,000. So.
However, speaking to your point, we have decided, or we have the okay to go ahead and hire our first employee, on behalf of the foundation this year. Independent contractor, but really mainly to work in the area of marketing through social media to help us do just that, establish a relationship with alumni. The problem is they're hard to find. People who are interested in that kind of role, or people on the other side who are interested in working on a contractual basis, just because of the tax stuff that goes along with it. However, one thing that we are focusing on, and if you pay attention to the district Facebook page, we're working very closely with Lisa Sink to kind of try to get more attention for the foundation through the district Facebook page. But that is on our list. And Tyler, I don't know if you want to talk about the relationship with Elmbrook at all that you have, but we're exploring other options and what other foundations do to enhance exactly your giving pool.
Dana and I are newer members to the board, so we said, well, what do other people do, right? So Elmbrook down near Milwaukee has an executive director for their foundation, right? So that we're just a bunch of guys doing it in our free time, right? And you talk to somebody like that and they have one person that spends 40 hours a week growing that foundation, right? And that's a full-time job. From what I understood from her, it sounds like she's very invested in it and she's getting paid probably half of what she should get paid, but she's passionate about it, right? That's cool. So that's what you need in that. And they've been able to really grow their foundation and do a lot of active fundraisers and activities. I don't think that their assets are as large as ours. I mean, I think we're a very fortunate group that we've just kind of stumbled into this much that we're able to give away to scholarships and loans, so that's great. if we wanted to amp it up, I think that would be the future of the foundation, right? But that's all, sure, to jump into that. And even with the social media marketing, right? Let's get our name out there, Well, we have to feed that animal with some content too, right? So that's the other thing that we have to be aware of. And I don't know if you want to touch on it a little bit, but the class of 1968, I believe, recently made
Yeah, they've given over $200,000 for scholarships for the future, and
that was unsolicited, right? And,
Right.
they were aware of
they
us.
had a class reunion, and said, hey, let's put some money together and have a scholarship to represent class of 68. So yes, very ideal.
Did they do Abe as well? Isn't that?
That was 61.
Our, I went back, it said $8 million, 8.6. Well, our goal is to get up to over $10 million, so that is our goal.
And the reason for that is, with the investments that we have with Lakeshore Community Foundation, as you know, the market fluctuates. So we may have 8.6 today, market tends to get, and we're down to 7.6, whatever. So we want to make sure we have a cushion there to fund scholarships and loans. But our goal is 10 million, and we feel, and we can kind of play with that number. But once we get to 10 million, then the income that we generate off of that, we can use for projects within the district if somebody wants to do something. I personally feel that that's a comfort level for me, that we can start putting money out versus just kind of building right now. So that's a goal we're looking at.
Yes, Kevin.
I was on the library board foundation, and the two primary sources they have, and I know they've gone on from there now, but was, the Christmas letter. You guys don't do that, do you? I've never gotten a letter from you at all. And, everybody's reminded that it's tax deductible, and these are the sorts of things we put the money for. I mean, that's not exactly a gold mine, but it's a pretty good source of kind of annual revenue. And the other thing was to get into wills, legacy stuff, and into corporations or organizations that have.
And we have done I have reached out to some attorneys in the area about
Yeah.
trying to remember. The Lakeshore Community Foundation also does a very nice job of touting who we are and leaving gifts set up. So that has helped as well. But, the letter, those are all good things that Dana's committee can look into and take care of.
Yeah.
One question I have is, is there a mechanism in place currently to donate online?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, we can, if you want to go to the
Do we want to
next.
skip ahead?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't think we need this from here. Do we want to stay in order, or do we want to?
I think we're, the next slide, going to the future. Tyler and Dana, if you want to.
So we just passed out the foundation brochure. This is long story short, the brochure, we're finding that it's a little bit dated but still relevant. So one thing that we're looking as we talk about drawing interest and excitement about the foundation is, but we have an awful lot of brochures to get rid of before we do that, is bringing on laying the foundation for a new brochure, basically, that would make it very appealing. However, the inside, if you flip over there, you'll see the primary buckets that the foundation has set up, and there's a fancy little QRS code that people can scan to access it, and this information is also available on the district website. These are the primary buckets that when a donor approaches a foundation to give, they can choose if they would like one of these specific buckets. So there's, of course, the scholarships, what we kind of, I think, covered, extensively. There's a bucket specifically for academics. So when you're a potential donor and you're looking to give a gift, like it's nice if you can match that gift to where your interests are. So these buckets kind of do that. So academics are academic needs related to the district, within the district. So if somebody would want to donate iPads to support SFA at Jefferson School, there would be the opportunity to give that specifically through the foundation. Facilities. And I think this is a huge potential bucket. And the reason that I say that is I was on the board at UW Green Bay or UW Manitowoc when we did the renovation. So what happens, and which we will run into, is you're given a bucket, right? Or you're given a budget amount to spend on your renovation. Well, there's always going to be wish list items that you can use to enhance a building or enhance a classroom or whatever, but the district, and we're going to see that, the district isn't going to be able to necessarily finance the wish list, right? So at UW Manitowoc, what happened is we got the budget from the county. We knew what the county was going to give us for it, but anything above that was up to the foundation. So we worked really hard, and we actually hired a full-time manager of our foundation at that point to manage the fundraising to build, put in a lot of the upgrades or the upticks at UW Manitowoc, and it turned out beautiful. So I think what you're going to see as we talk about referendums and building renovations and everything else that's going to come, teachers are going to have this wish list, right? They're going to want these extra things for their classrooms that probably the school district is going to have to cut out of budget. But that's where it's nice to have a foundation and the opportunity to give specifically to facilities. So if Eck Industries comes along and they say, well, we would really like to purchase whiteboards for all of the classrooms or whatever it might be, this provides this provides an outlet to involve donors, community businesses, resources to help out your foundation, get what your kids need in their classrooms through a nice, easy mechanism of donating. So I think that one has huge amounts of potential, in the future. Innovative programming, I think that's one that has a lot of potential. And I think especially in a budget-starved district, getting teachers to in-services, getting teachers, to meetings, bringing in extra special events for students, things like that. Co-curricular activities, academic and athletics, I'm the parent of student athletes over the years, and athletics or academics, those extracurricular activities they always need more than what the district can give. So another great opportunity, a big one there right now is the baseball field.
$3 million.
Yeah. And there is a donation that has come in through the foundation to assist them, immensely.
You're laundering that money too. Are you
and then-
guys mostly passive in terms of contributions? You just accept contributions, or do you
We don't
pursue
have-
contributions?
Well, in the past, we've just accepted donations. However, to build a foundation, if we want to hit that $10 million mark, there has to be some active engagement and passion to build the foundation. So that's where my committee kind of comes in, and Tyler is on our committee. We're focusing very targeted in building relationships and getting the word out. So, for instance, one thing that we recently did is we had the back to school
Yeah,
kickoff
that was a really,
at the wharf. We had 250 people give us their emails.
that was,
Who, may have known the foundation was there, didn't. They heard there was an all alumni class reunion. We felt that it was incredibly successful, so we've committed to doing that every year. So people will look forward to that, hopefully, every single year and come, and it'll just kind of take off. We also used it, marketed it as kind of like a back to school event for staff. We had tons of staff, just coming to look out and hang out with each other before school started at that event. Your little koozies, we have printed out, we had 1,000 of these. We gave away 500 of them at the homecoming game. So just, again, purposeful marketing, right? Let people know about the foundation, not necessarily, at a football game, you can't exactly tell them, what it is or what we do, but the logo's in their mind. This year we gave out a penny 2024 penny to the graduates. That's going to become a tradition. You know, and in that, we just, you know, it was new this year, right? You learn from everything. So this next year, what we will do is in that, they got the brochure and the penny, but we'll include the application for the student loan program. You know, so every purposeful action you can take hopefully has a reciprocal outcome, right? So what were some of the other things we did? So speaking at new staff, you know, at the staff welcome, you know, we're gonna try to, spoke at graduation. If there is an opportunity for the foundation to be involved, we will. So the National Honor Society, we were late on the draw this year. You know, when we talked to, you know, the coordinator, she's like, we didn't even think about it. But next year, we would like you to speak before Honor Society because you have seniors there and let them know about scholarships and loans, right? Because their parents are all there too. So it's just, you know, it's those kind of events. Anything that we can be actively engaged in, we'll be there. You know, we're going to be at a basketball game, you know, so it's just getting the word out and that. So yeah, so your answer to your question, we are attempting to actively seek donations by really letting people know that we exist.
To answer your question, there's ways to access it. One is the main website, the Manitowoc School District website. There's a pull-down menu for the foundation. And once you go to that, it'll have a part for donations. And then we would have, they're already broken into probably 10 different buckets right now. And if there is a project that comes up, we'd like to add to it, we'll just add to it. So we can easily add to that. We have QR codes. So if a person wanted to have a project, what it can be done is print off self-labels and put a QR code, and then they just do it. So there's ways to use these brochures that can make them individualized by a project. Just by taking that and just printing off a bunch of labels and putting them in those and distribute them.
Has the foundation had any, and I know, it sounds like Tyler's done some research with Elmbrook, have there been discussions about hiring on someone to focus on that type of work?
Preliminary, I think.
Preliminary.
I think we're just understanding what other people do, right?
Yeah.
We have a great passive organization.
Right.
But I think when you talk, I mean, you're changing the trajectory of that organization by doing that. And
Yeah.
Are we all ready to buckle up and do that? I mean, that's a bigger discussion, I think, that we haven't had.
Okay.
And with that comes cost.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That's right. And right now, once you add an employee, there's a lot more work to it. So we're trying to do it as independent contractors or work through the Manitowoc School District, and we'll talk about that later on.
Okay.
I don't think it was mentioned, but we do have a charity engine within the district. So Angela can talk more about that specifically, but there is the opportunity through charity engine to make direct contributions to the foundation.
So we have QR codes, direct links that are set up with that. So we worked last year to get the Google Forms for projects and scholarships ready, and it's in a good spot now.
That's good.
Anything else?
I don't know, I've had a fair amount of experience raising money for politics. And the real secret there is the lists. Everybody that runs a campaign, has a list. I mean, they have to report everything in. And you ask people, oh, could we have your list? And after a while, you really do get a good long list, and you can email and you can send letters and stuff like that. And I think that part of the problem with I don't know, we had the problem at the library, that almost everybody in town said, oh, well, we already pay for you, you're already tax supported. And there is the assumption, was it at UW-Manitowoc too, that all the money you're ever going to need comes from tax revenue. And the fact of the matter is that especially the loan program and the scholarship program is really, really good, because that, like as Dana said, it's getting very, very much more expensive to go on to any post-secondary education. So I don't know. I mean, it's a fairly easy sell, I think, to say, boy, don't we wish, you know, that we got all the money through tax revenue. The fact of the matter is that most of our programs that you really like come from foundation money. And, I mean, what's not to like about the Manitowoc Public Schools in a way, you know? And if you can add to the richness of that, but you gotta have names, and you gotta like remind people. And I'm sure you know that, but the lists, I mean, you know, you could have my list if you want.
And I think you're gonna speak to it, Biff, so go ahead.
Well, I don't know, but I think it's so important that we keep the foundation and the district separate. Because we want people feeling good, making donations to a foundation, and sometimes there's rough seas. But I think this is an opportunity to look at maybe that position of PR for the district, PR for the foundation, to at least explore, is there a way that we could come to an agreement to hire somebody that has that expertise that would help us get the good word out about the district, but also then get the word out about the foundation that, hey, we have this huge alumni group, and
Oh, yeah.
as we age, sometimes we look for places to give money
Yeah,
to.
for sure, yeah.
So I think there's that opportunity.
You could give it to me.
Yeah.
If you're looking to give money.
Since he's the one that's aging.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say is Biff has been very good when he does tours at Lincoln for class reunions. That would be a great idea, a great way
Oh,
to
yeah.
word out class officers, who's on your list, we could get those lists, so.
And that's one thing Tyler is working on when you talk about class officers is, you know, part of getting into college these days, right, is padding your student resume, right? You know, colleges want to, not only do they want an academically strong student, they want students who are engaged and active in their communities, right? So by philanthropy, by extracurriculars, you know, whatever it might be. So one opportunity that we have as a foundation to help students take that next step is becoming actively engaged in their own philanthropy project that lives within their really, you know, their own district. So with your intention of having a student on the school board, you know, that's our intention, as well as having a student help us on the foundation. So we are,
So we have a commitment from
good idea.
the junior class president. Her name escapes me, but I think she'll be sitting in our meetings here this year.
Well, that's great.
yeah, so that gives us, you know, that gives us another access to the class to promote scholarships and grants, as well as give them some beefy stuff to put on their college applications as well. So lots of good things coming, lots of good ideas coming. It's just takes time to get it all up and
Because
running.
every class has, that senior class has a list of their alumni that graduated. Every
Right.
senior class officer has that.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
a,
And our intention is to keep that junior through the senior
Correct.
year. So you actually have two students, and then each year you have a junior and a senior to kind of help with the
Continuity.
continuity.
It's really hard to keep track of them after they leave, though. I mean, they keep changing addresses and things like that.
Yeah, you know, and it's weird, it's interesting that you say that because, you know, I have kids who are done with high school and moved on and things like that, and as well as I'm guilty of it. I think our generation is probably different than Biff's generation, where we don't have that tie to our high school and that passion for our high school, and I don't know where that got damaged, but I think letting people know that a foundation exists is hugely important, because it's what we've identified, and I think Tyler helped out with Elmbrook. It's not actually the retired donors who have a tendency to give the most to situations like this. It's that in between, like that 45 to 60-year-old who's looking to give donations. So you have to have some interest, and you have to have something that brings them home, right? And, you know, we have that beautiful tower on the lakeshore, which is right? It's our beacon. Everybody talks about it, or, everybody remembers graduating from Lincoln High School. So there's already a romantic tie and an emotional tie to Lincoln. It's just fostering that foundation and luring them back in, So, well, I mean, there's some kind of like a sense of a romanticism about graduating from Lincoln High School.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's-
Walking down
yeah.
the steps.
The steps
My
and
kids
formal
do.
graduation. Tower.
Romantic about that. They just don't have enough money to get it.
I mean, the title kind of says it all, right? We're touching on a lot of these things, but I think what frustrates us a little bit is that we had a big bag of money to give away in May for scholarships, and we couldn't give it all away, right?
Yeah,
So we had allocated X amount of money and we came up short of that. So we're looking for help from the district to communicate this better, and some of that's on us to reach out to counselors and things like that. But I think we have a lot of momentum and we want to keep this going right now. So to touch on the specifics, right? So the district is sending that money directly to the universities, right? So we're not doing that, and the students aren't getting the money, right, for tax reasons, and all that money's leaving in August, so.
And graduates can apply as well, right? So if they, 3 years ago, they can still come back and, right?
Yep.
So to wrap this up here, communication is essential. People that come up with a project, maybe a wonderful project, but if the district can't afford to maintain it, it's not going to work. So we need to make sure that when people come into either the district or to us with a project, we're communicating to make sure that it meets everybody's needs. Scholarships and the loan programs take a huge amount of time. We are a volunteer organization. There's no cost. So the donations that come in, they come into the foundation. There's no one paid out of it. Now we're talking about maybe adding a person that can increase that. So we want to be careful again, make sure that the dollars are used. But we need to come up with a procedure for tracking things, and we've been working on that with the business office. So I think we've got that pretty well figured out.
It's funny that you should say that. Angela and I just was meeting about an hour ago, and, one of the issues we have, in my opinion, is we have a lack of systems in place to deal with special requests. You get, this person goes, hey, I need this from the district. We have they're all great projects that people are very passionate about, but we have to have a way to receive, organize, prioritize, and make decisions on a calendar basis so that it's clean. It also doesn't make good guys and bad guys, right? Like, poor Angela who gets, can I have $30,000 for this playground equipment? Well, it's not in the capital budget. So no, but to your point, if the district can have a system in place for these special, and like you were saying, Dana, the nice to haves versus the gotta haves, and you're right, that conversation's coming down the road, right? The nice to haves versus the gotta haves in this district are gonna be part of that conversation. So how do we create a system? And so there are systems in place. Some districts use a rubric that's based on their mission, vision, and values that ranks and it takes these things in and it says, okay, on this it ranks this, on this it ranks this, and so that it's not the good boys and bad girls anymore. This is what we can do, but also if we had a part, and most districts aren't fortunate enough to have a potential partner like the foundation, where we can go, hey, here we got to share lists, and maybe what we can't prioritize as part of our gotta haves or nice to haves, we can do with some help, from the foundation. So I agree with you, and I'm glad to hear that, a system is desired on your part, because it's certainly desired on ours too. There's a lot of positives that can come from
Ken,
that.
isn't there a system already in place, like the Cooper funds? Where
Cooper funds?
Cooper had that system. The money was there. The
Yeah.
schools put their ideas in. There was this board, this sequence, this organized regimen of how these funds were being
Cooper funds
distributed.
is way down.
Sure, but
So,
the format's
The
there.
foundation could be
Yeah,
set up. something.
it's partially there. The
Yeah.
problem with that is, I think you need to develop that. Literally, it's like a rubric, and we used to send Ken the things from the building and say, yeah, these are the priorities, because the folks funnel it in, we give it to them, they make the decisions and then commute it back.
Yeah, but we got to say no first.
Correct. Correct. We'll leave that one off the list, right? Yeah.
Get that one.
But I do think it's vitally important, because that helps also improve that communication piece.
Yes.
Because you know what we're getting as requests, and we know what you're getting as requests. So how do we work together to help prioritize and make some of those things happen?
And one of the things that we found too is if somebody comes in, they want to donate $500, which we'll gladly take. But with that, we've got to set a limit where we can't manage $500 funds. I think it's what, $10,000 now for a specific project that we'll manage.
Yeah.
The rest, it just goes into the general.
Like one of those buckets.
Yes.
Yeah. Because otherwise you
When
got.
they get small, we used to accept $500. Well, $500 is more bookkeeping than we need to. And some of them, $500 is supposed to last a couple of years. You give me a break. We can't deal, it goes into a general one.
Yeah. Gotta draw the line
More of a
somewhere.
bookkeeping nightmare than anything.
Ken, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, one last thing is, just remember, the foundation is for the benefit of the school district and students. And to support scholarships and loan programs, the foundation provides some of the financial assistance. But also we need help from the Manitowoc School District, and that's part of the reason why the foundation pays the district $2,500 per month for the services, or a total of $30,000 a year. So to say that we're putting a lot of pressure on the school district, well, technically, we're paying for it. It used to be, 5 years ago, it was done for free.
Yeah.
Now we're paying for part of it. So there is some financial payment made to an organization that means the school district, foundation pays school district. So, with that said, are there any more questions?
I just wanted to throw in one more thing. I am not a marketing person, I'm a nurse. So, but I love marketing, and sometimes I feel like maybe I missed my calling, that I should have been a marketer. But one thing that I just wanted to say as a parent is I am so appreciatively of your direct attention or purposeful intention of improving the marketing aspect of the district. As a parent, it's been so refreshing to start the year on a positive note and not the doom and gloom note. And when you look at the Facebook page, like I'm seeing more people participating, more likes, more comments. It's just so refreshing. And none of us, including our kids, nobody can succeed in a hostile environment, right? So that positive energy from the top down, is going to go from the bottom up, so thank you, as a parent and as a foundation, you make our jobs easier when we start happy, for lack of a.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because this morning at Jackson Elementary School, doing the facilities presentations, and I don't start with anything facilities, I start with, these are some really awesome things that we do as a district that we do better than anyone else.
Right.
And why is it that those aren't the things that are talked about in our community?
Exactly.
And frankly, I look right at them and say, and it really starts here. If you think these jokers at central office are gonna be the ones that are able to, give all of the things, it's those conversations that you have every weekend with your family, friends, and acquaintances that really become the educational tool, because you're all very well-respected people in our community and great advocates. But when that noise drowns that advocacy out, it really prevents us from maximizing the return on that positivity. And you're gonna hear more of it, because we have to change the tide on our open enrollment situation in the district. And I think it's very doable, and it's something that we can control. It hurts my heart to think there are families living in this district that don't look at us and say, oh my gosh, look at the possibilities you have, if you send your kid to let's just say, our school district, but in particular, having been more familiar with the high school programming, it doesn't matter if you're on a work track or a college track, we can make it happen for you. And I don't just say it from being the principal, my own two kids I got a daughter who's a senior in a YA and taking advantage of all these opportunities and leadership and the things we provide that I never could dream of having as a kid growing up in the UP with 22 kids in my class. And I think those things just, like, we don't realize sometimes when we have it so good, how good we have it. And as I told the staff in all these schools, we're going to be coming to the community to ask for help and investment in our future, as we did 100 years ago or more. And it's that time for our community. It's just the way it is. But the exciting thing about it, I'm hoping the staff feel the same way, is that they have an opportunity to help shape that future and have a part in it. And if we can really get the community to buy in to that, I mean, we should accent and take advantage of our traditions, but it's also what we currently do, and it's a value added to this community. We're keeping higher ed alive. We're helping our businesses. And we've got to also remember to point that out with them and continue to work with them as well. So that is going to be a huge priority for our district moving forward. And it would also, you help us too, because you provide an avenue then for what people can do with what they feel is a great investment.
Great.
Well, if there are no other questions, thank you for letting us come here today.
Thank you for coming.
And tomorrow I'll plug you on Breakfast Club.
Thank you.
There you go. We're gonna maybe see if we can do a test to see if there's any direct correlation from the marketing of Breakfast Club to a donation, but
Appreciate it.
we'll talk about it tomorrow, on all that you're doing and some of the basics that we talked about today.
Awesome. Thank you again.
You guys didn't
Thanks
eat.
for coming.
Why did- I thought this was the lunch. I thought you were gonna eat.
Well, now, next year you get something.
During the meeting? During meeting?
Motion to adjourn? Anybody? Motion to adjourn, Mr.
Yeah.
Shaw?
You need a second for
Okay,
that?
I'll motion, you second.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.